want to tell us a little bit about your story, about where it all started?
Well, years ago my father had a huge farm, and he also did a lot of produce, vegetables, and as a little kid, I was always out there picking vegetables and stuff, and then I see an English guy pull up and buy and stuff, and as I got older, I keep watching, I'm like, man, that's interesting how they drive and go down the road.
Yeah.
I'm like, someday I'm going to do that too. And
That you were looking at that car and saying, man, I want to drive one of those one day, and I want to be on a podcast.
Yeah.
I never thought that I'd be on a podcast. I never thought I'd be on a TV or anything like
Yeah.
that. I'm like, that's just way above me.
Yeah.
I think like way up here, but I'm down here.
No. You're a star, my friend. So you would see people come up in a car, and you're like, man, one day I want to drive that car and
Yep.
move like them. And why is that? What were you driving around?
I was always driving a horse and buggy
Wow.
behind a, stinky old horse down the road.
I see
And-
you're clean shaven. Did you have a beard at
Yeah,
one point?
I had a beard.
Oh, really?
I
Lucky.
had a little goat beard, about that long.
All right.
And
Go ahead.
long hair down here, right below the ears my hair was cut straight, and then front here was cut straight. We could not curl them, or you had to keep them straight. That was their Amish rule.
Okay, so now, because now I got a little bit of where you're from a farm, you used to see, and you called them English, right? Is that the term for us folks here?
Yeah.
Maybe not me. I'm
Yeah,
south of the border.
That's what the Amish call us out here.
Oh.
They call
Outside.
me. Yeah, we're in English. We're driving cars and stuff. Anybody driving a car, they call English people.
Ah.
Okay.
So, all right. So, Amish. What is that? Is that a religion?
Yeah, that's basically a religion. Years ago, they originally they leave the English people, if you may say so, and they start out as a cult, and they fought the government, they fought everybody, and then finally they had made a rule that if they help pay in tax and pay school tax, the law, the government will leave them alone. And so that's how they all started out, and they still do it today. Like, they pay school taxes and stuff like that for English school taxes, so that way they can have their own schools. Basically, they start out kind of as a cult, if you may say so, and then they call themselves, they're the Amish.
Yeah. So are you born into that? Can one convert? Have you ever had anyone convert to your? Is
We
that
had-
community? Would you call it a community?
Yeah, Amish community.
Yeah.
We had one guy that years ago, I heard when I was a kid. He tried to go from, I was an English guy, tried to go from there to Amish. And then what happened is that he was doing good, and then finally this one girl he liked very well, he ended up raping her. And
Oh my.
so they, after that, there's like, they won't let anybody, an English person, come back. Now, if I was actually trying to get back in, I could get back in, but it would take a couple years to get in because you got to let your hair grow out and everything. It'd be a very tough situation.
Gain the trust.
I want to get
Trust of the community.
I want to get into that, but I want to unpack something first. You said that this guy came in and then he raped the lady. So, what do you do? Who do you report that to? Is there like an Amish police or?
So being that is a good point. That goes to the elders. They have like 4 different levels of it, kind of like it's out here in the English world. But you have the bishop and a couple elders, and there's another one lower than that. They're all a little different step, but they're basically doing the same thing. So let's say you get in trouble and you saw what he did or whatever, you go report it to the bishop, and then the bishop have to take your word, and he goes and talks to you and find out the rules. They're kind of figuring out, investigate the thing. Then when they have a lot different levels of punishment. Certain stuff, like if it's pretty bad, you get shunned.
What's shunned?
Like, shunned is basically you don't do any business with anybody. You're gonna sit with any Amish people. You gotta, whenever you're sitting in the table and stuff, you have to sit back in the corner, eat by yourself, and you cannot have any meals or anything. And when you're shunned, you cannot. If you're the guy that's shunned, you cannot hand anything to the other person, but the other person can give you some. Basically, they cannot take a cup of coffee from the bad guy.
So okay, so
And how long is that punishment
Yeah.
going for?
It all depends. It could be 2 weeks. It could be 2 months. It kind of depends on what.
now
So in the English world, we might call that timeout.
yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah,
It's a little
Would-
bit like timeout.
yeah. It really is kind of.
Okay.
Would you go? So for something as rape, would you ever go out of your community and maybe talk to the English law enforcement if
Yes.
there's something a murder or something like that? I don't
Something
know if
like-
you've ever heard of anybody
something-
being murdered in the.
Not very often. Something like that, they would the law would step in.
Yeah. So, but outside of that, maybe somebody stole something. Would that be grounds for you saying shunning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you steal anything, doesn't
Yeah.
matter what it is. If it's called steal or you took something and you did intentionally, you'd be shunned for. If it doesn't matter, you steal a hammer, little thing, you'd be shunned for 2 weeks or maybe even more. If you did intentionally because you didn't like the dude or something like that, you'd be shunned.
What about fighting, fist fights?
Oh, fist fight, yeah. Young boys, they get into that sometimes.
Yeah.
Not so much the older men, but if they do get in fist fight, they get shunned. And they will actually make it kind of like a probation time. They'll get shunned for a couple weeks, and then they might tell them, if we catch you from this time to this time, then it's going to get serious.
There's a bigger punishment in store.
Yeah, like longer period of time.
And so, I mean, we kind of maybe assuming that some people understand that this community is based on faith through Christianity, right?
Yeah.
It's a Christian-based faith, Jesus.
Yeah, it's
you know.
based on Jesus, on
Okay.
God.
Okay.
All right. I'm still in the. I'm trying to get the shunned
Okay.
laws.
I'm sorry. I didn't.
So, what?
Nick wants to know
I'm-
how
I'm-
much
I'm- well-
shunning he's going to receive.
Well,
for certain
because
things.
because I'm trying to figure out what is considered, bad in that community, to where you get shunned, right? So if you get shunned 2 weeks for fist fighting, so where am I dialing back? What am I getting a day for? If I'm, what about if I snuck in some whiskey and then
Oh,
took a
yeah.
little nip off the top there? What about
Yeah,
that?
if you get caught with that, that's a pretty good one. You might get shunned for a month because they don't want you to. Now, that being said, you can when you're over 18, when you're married, you can have some wine. You can have brandy,
Okay.
like ginger brandy stuff,
Yes, yes.
or you can have and then when you join the church, you're 18. You can ask your parents if you're sick. You can only take it when you're sick, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. You cannot.
like medicine or
Yeah, kind of like a medicine purpose, a brandy, but you cannot just go and drink a whole bottle full and sing, hey.
But what if you're really sick?
Then you better hope the daddy's on your side.
So, okay, I'm trying to dial it back. What's a day? What would you say an offense for 1 day of being shunned? Or does it even get down to that
Oh,
minimum?
no, it don't. It goes either 2 weeks. Because what they do is you get shunned and you get called out in the church in front of everybody that's joined the church. And being that they cannot go outside that church to talk about it. It have to stay in that church. And only the ones that are 18 or above that join the church. And then once he gets called out, he has to get up and leave. And then 2 weeks later, they go around and they ask everybody that joined the church if it's good if he comes back in the church.
Oh, so they gotta
It's
get approval.
2 week at least minimum, and then above.
Ah.
Yeah.
See,
And then when you get shunned, everybody just they look at you like, hey, this is
Now-
a bad dude.
what happens in the walls stay in the walls. However, the little birds whisper sometimes.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I knew it.
Yep. Especially there's just like everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a huge family of. There was 15 of us.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I was the only dude that wasn't 5 foot, but
Mm-hmm.
I still had a big heart.
Yeah.
So they would say, "Hey, did you hear what would be a name? What's a typical name for?"
Typical name is like John or Levi.
Okay.
There's a lot of John and Levi's, I would say.
So did you hear what Levi did? And then
Yeah, especially once you join the church, they don't talk a lot about it, but they do. They're like, "Hey, did you hear about what he did?" Yeah, he got caught. You know.
Yeah.
Again, it seems everything seems in line with maybe like like just normal society rules. You fight, you get in trouble. I'm trying to find something that maybe drinking is one thing, but something on the inside that we as English. Now I'm English, by the way. Did you know that? I'm English. We as English might not see as such a big deal. You understand? I'm trying to find that little maybe one thing in the Amish community that they find like, oh, you cannot wear your hair in a bun or something like that. You know, what do you think now that you've been now that you left the community? You maybe find something that's like, hey, that wasn't really that big of a problem. I don't know why they had the problem. What is that?
That's cutting your hair. That's
Cutting your hair.
a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. And in the Amish, the girls, the women, they don't cut their hair. It's got to grow out, however, and they cannot shave. Doesn't matter if they have a couple of whiskers coming out.
I was going to say head to toe. They're not allowed to touch hair.
No shaving.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm just pointing it out there. I'm just saying what everyone's thinking. I know Dave's back there is ask about down low.
Oh,
Ask him about down low. You see it? You see?
Yeah.
So
there ain't no shaving going on.
no.
but like you said, like old women as they age and go through menopause and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm sure that you've seen that, right?
Start to spring
Here, there,
hairs here and there, and they off they go.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's very, very interesting. So cutting the hair, that would be something that.
Yeah, and then the guys, they can.
Has anyone cut the hair? No.
No, they don't. They don't. Every now and then, one guy will get in trouble. Maybe cut his hair a little bit too short. His ears start sticking out. When that ear starts sticking out, you better hope it grows fast.
Oh, but you can cut it, just not to a certain length.
Yeah, it's got to be certain lengths. It's got to be just below your ears and straight all the way around.
How do you get it so straight?
You
Little
got
soup bowl
an
or
eyeball or
something?
something,
Eyeball.
and it just by eyeball. You want to try to be straight as you can, and then and they're most time they're good with that. They try not to be too picky, but then the men or the boys before they get married, once they join the church, they can they have to let it grow out probably about the lengths you got right now. It's
I'm
like
working
look
my
like
way
you're
over there.
just joined at the church.
I'm working my way.
And then they cannot have their mustache either.
Oh no.
No mustache, and they gotta have it shaved, and then the beard fully growing out. And then once they're married, they cannot trim. Period. Doesn't matter. It grows like a billy goat beard, whatever. That's just it.
Wow.
All right, and this is the last thing on the shun thing because I know I've been milking the shun thing. I just as a police officer, I like to know the laws.
Crime and punishment.
Yeah, I want to know what the laws are over there, and I'm sure people are interested. But give me some examples for that you have seen, or maybe a bird has told you about people that have gotten shunned for, so that we can know. Is it along the lines of what we said?
Well,
Anything interesting?
yeah, there is some interesting. So in the Shauna line, I'll tell you a little story about me. What I got shunned.
You got shunned.
Yo,
Oh my God! Oh, you handed me that mug. I should have taken that mug.
so so back in the days,
You were a rebel,
Once
weren't
I
you?
was, I was a wild kid.
Yeah.
You may say so.
All right.
And after I turned 18, once my father finally let me get to the youngs, let me start to the youngs, I guess. I always wanted a fast horse. I didn't like to have I didn't like other boys passing me and shit like that. So, well, time goes on. Once I turned 21, I went out and I bought me a horse. And I think by this time I had 3 horses by the time I got Shonda. I had one little black beauty. It was called Black Beauty. She was really fast. And it didn't matter. A guy could be riding on the horseback. I could pass him.
Nice.
So they came to me and they're like, "Hey, Elmer, we heard you pass this guy. You're racing this guy. Is that true? I said, well, I never planned on racing, but I did pass him on a fast speed, like full throttle.
Yeah, I like
And
that.
so they go, well, they shunned at me for, or they told me not to do this. And then when they actually shunned at me was, they told me not to run my horses so fast. So then they shunned at me.
So is that the first offense, the first time they told you, they also shunned you?
No,
gave you a
they
warning.
told me. Yeah, they gave me a warning.
Ah.
And then later they told me, when they come back to me, they told me, Elmer, don't be running your horses so fast. And my horses were hanging in them reins. They were wild. These are horses that actually came off English racetracks. So I was like, okay. The boys all come. I was a year older than the rest of the boys. They come, Elmer, what are we doing now? I said, well, we're going to show them how it's done. So
Rebel.
we went out and we went down to the neighbors, and we also got bicycles. And we started riding bikes. Well, they found out, and they're like, Elmer, is that true that you guys are riding bicycles? Yeah, it is. He goes, why? I said, you guys said don't run the horses so hard.
So now
I
you're
got
racing-
shot for 2 weeks, and the rest of them, every one of us got shot for 2 weeks. And that was kind of, everybody was laughing. Like,
Yeah.
most boys in the Amish will get caught riding a bicycle or trying something out.
So bicycles,
No
off the
go?
books.
Yeah, you're not supposed to have a bicycle. Years ago, my grandfather had a bicycle, and back then, were able to have bicycles with metal wheels, and then when they came and put rubber on the bicycles, they took it away from us. Well, we boys found it out, and we're like, oh, you guys could ride bicycles. We're going to try it too. And then, well, obviously, they showed us that.
Hey.
So where did you get these bikes from? You guys stole the bikes?
No, we went down to the neighbors, and this English person, I'm not using names. This English person that,
They're like, hey,
she's
I'll
now
see you in the
probably
back.
82 years old.
Oh.
But she would always help me out. And I told her that we want to get some bicycle. So she stopped at yard sale and pick them up, which is any bicycle that is better than sitting behind the horse, you know?
Well,
Stinky horses, he said.
good news is I don't think the people of your community are going to be watching this episode.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
However, you did give them up by giving them their age.
Yep.
So, that's all right. I don't think they care.
Yep.
But so bicycles. So can you explain that a little bit? Because no cars, no bikes with rubber tires. So what's going on there? What's the
So
interpretation?
their rules about the no bicycle thing is like they do not like anything rubber wheels. They don't allow unless it's hard rubber. There's air in the rubbers, and that's
But why do you think that is? Did they ever explain that to you?
no. They never really went in a lot of these things. They never really went in real details. A lot of them they said, and the thing is if you question them, or let's say they came to me something, and I'm like, is that a man-made rule or is that a Bible verse rule? And they would always go, anything that's off the Bible rules is what they go on.
Right.
The Old Testament, not the. They will not. If you get caught reading a Bible that is written up by somebody, you'd get shunned for it. So that being said, so sometimes there was an issue where they come question you, and then they go, well, it's a man-made rule. So it's kind of like, how do I want to explain it? It's kind of like if you happen to arrest somebody, if you're in law enforcement, you arrest somebody with no chair restriction. Kind of the same thing, but when you brought it up, as long as you stay cool, you'll be okay. But if you happen bring this up with a little attitude, you get punished for showing your attitude. Because
Yeah, for talking back.
You're better off just walk their line and.
Well, I could see why you decided to take your talents elsewhere.
So
Say, I'm out of here.
I mean,
So there's probably, I'm going to just throw a number out there. There could be 30, 50 different Amish. So there's a lot of different levels of Amish, like stricter, and some can do a little more. This one can actually have a couple screw guns. That one can have a tractor, but it got to be metal wheels. And that one, it goes on and on.
so there's a varying spectrum or scale
Yeah.
to people's belief system in the community.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
That's
okay.
what's always very interesting. There's a different perspective of that, but they all have the same Bible. They all
Correct.
believe
Okay.
in
I-
same God, you know?
Do they? Is there like times where they meet up or people meet up and discuss some traditions and stuff? It's like, hey,
To the
Yeah,
elders.
these guys are no bikes still.
Yeah. There's like the elders.
Yeah.
So the elders are basically, they're the rules, they're the law in the Amish, kind of, if you may say so. And they will get together and they will be like, hey, there's a new thing came out. For me, for instance.
They talk
Here's
about
another one.
you. Oh, they're waiting for you to come
Oh,
back.
they are definitely going to talk about this podcast.
I just turned 21.
Yeah.
And they took it away from me. I turned 21 while sitting on Amish bucky, and when it starts raining, you want an umbrella up. It's raining in front of the bucky. So,
You're saying buggy.
Buggy.
yep, horse
Okay.
and bucky.
Okay. All right.
So I decided this. I saw this umbrella at a store. I walked in at a dollar store. I see this umbrella. I opened it up. Had one clear sheet in it. So I'm like, wow, that guy was smart. Invented that one because now I can see through the umbrella.
Yeah.
So I bought this thing. Didn't even think nothing of it. At the door I go. Well, not more than 2 weeks. Somebody seen me with this umbrella because I could see through. I didn't think nothing of it. They came in the driveway. And I'm like, what the hell do they want now? So they come in and they talk to me about, and they asked me if I have this new umbrella. I said, yeah, I do, and showed it. And they said, yeah, you can't have that. It doesn't. We can't read in the Bible about it, but this is not allowed. This is not an old time umbrella anymore. They try to keep everything like back in the 1800s. They
Yeah.
don't like new things.
Progress.
Yeah,
They don't-
exactly.
So
And they
a
do-
regular umbrella, a black basic umbrella, is allowable.
Yep.
Or is it can
Yeah,
be
and
customary.
it's just a basic umbrella. But now to get back to your about riding in cars and stuff, like the way I grew up, we could only ride in cars if emergency. Let's say you're headed to the bus line, you had a breakdown, and one of your relatives died or something. You're going for a funeral, you could quick grab a driver and take you there. Or let's say your wife is having a baby or a hospital emergency, you could always call a driver up and have you take it there.
Okay.
You mentioned baby. Babies are more or less in the community, born in the community, right?
Natural.
You'd be more of a natural in-home,
Yeah.
a home birth
Yeah.
versus going to a hospital, except
Yeah.
for cases where it just
Yeah, if they
trying to keep people alive sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom was a midwife, and
Okay.
she was all over. They would come and pick her up or whatever, let her know. And a lot of them, she'd take care of it. And then, now there's also more because midwives are hard to come by.
Oh.
There's more and more Amish people, and it's harder for them to. There's not a lot of them want to do the midlife work. So they do more being more born in the hospital.
Is there like a training for that, or do you just you go to
Well-
like a mid like all right, he's a girl and he's gonna go. He has to train with the midwife now and kind of shadow what they do.
Yeah, kind of. That's how they kind of do it. And plus, also when if a mother's going into that, somebody that have a lot of experience. My mom had 15 kids, so and
That's a lot.
we're all like a year apart or a year and 2 months apart.
Do you guys? This might sound a little weird because it's going a little weird on my train of thought. You guys all born about the same birthday?
No. So
Okay. So it's not that one time
my
of year.
brother Levi was born in March, beginning of March. I was born the next year, end of March, and then
that's
my
busy.
next sister, younger than me, was born in April, and then the next one was born in August. So
okay.
it was couple seemed like every year, and a little bit past a year, there was one born.
What about
You got to
Well, I
do
mean,
that. You got to
obviously-
do that to make children.
He said, I don't know if the microphone's picked it up, but sex. But obviously, it seems like you have to be married in order to engage in those type of activities.
Yep.
Yeah.
They obviously, the way I grew up in the Amish, we had to you were allowed to go out every 2 weeks to go date a girl. So what they would do
Whoa.
is
Date a girl in the community or outside the community?
no in the
In the
community.
community.
It had to be the same church. You couldn't go
Oh.
over to the next church where it's a little bit different. It had to be the same.
A date
church.
every 2 weeks. I think my wife would appreciate that if we could actually have a date every 2 weeks. We
So-
barely. No, I'm just kidding.
What do you mean by date? Is take them out to eat or
No.
hang out with them? Or-
Hang out with them. So the way they do it in the way they do it in the Amish, they one guy will, let's say you want to see a girl, you would go ask a guy that you trust that's going to keep his mouth shut, not run his lips, that he would take you to the girl you want to see and go up and ask, and she says yes or no, and then if she says yes, you get to spend the night with her. And
What kind of night? Like
You-
hang out?
yup, hang
Any
out.
touchy feelies?
You can hawk him, and
What's hawk 'em?
you can
Hug.
hiss.
Oh,
give
hug,
him a
hug.
hawk. Yeah.
They're hawk 'em.
You're still working.
Yeah.
On, your ears
Sorry.
are still working on the
My-
accent.
Yeah.
My accent is
Yeah,
low.
I heard that. I'm trying. I'm listening. So you can hug
So
'em.
you can hawk him and you can kiss him, but that's as far as you're gonna go.
Where do your hands go when you hug? Up top shoulder blades?
Yep.
Booty cheeks?
Nope.
Oh,
Oh.
lower back?
Yep. Up around.
What about right where that curve? It's not their butt yet, but it's like right there. You know
Where the
what I'm talking
dimples
about?
are sometimes.
Nope.
Nope.
You might be getting in too far down.
I'm sure it's happened though.
I don't remember of in my Amish that it ever happened, but although I know my uncle's son, different, little higher, different Amish, he had plans to get married in August. And I had a feeling it's the reason I knew this boy. And, well, for something happened, there was a death or a funeral, or something came up, so it prolonged their wedding 3 months later.
Oh,
Well,
she
the
started.
girl ended up being pregnant.
Uh-huh.
It's a miracle.
Yeah, they both got shunned for a little bit.
Yeah, I would think it's
By
grounds
the time
for
the
shunning.
wedding was, you could see she's pregnant. There was no hiding it.
That funeral screwed everything up.
Well, I think I want to continue rolling. We're in such a good groove. The what about the because you had mentioned the midwife, and I'm going to get off the sex stuff, the food and the medicine. Go to the medicine stuff first.
So,
Where do you guys get the medicine? You're able to go to the store, buy Tylenol or anything like that?
yeah, they were able to buy some of that stuff, but like, my mom was very good with medical medicinal
Medicinal.
medicine
That thing. Medicine.
medicine. I
She was
can
very
barely
good
say that
with
word.
medical medicines. Yeah.
Well, she was good with that stuff. We live off the land as much as we could. There was like,
my wife would like to be Amish. She likes to live off the land.
nice.
But she
There
doesn't-
was burdock. Like burdock is very good. Plus, like if I get a cut or something, my mom would put salt on it in the cut, in the wound.
I think
So
isn't that painful?
yeah, but
It's the saying. You put salt in the wound, it's going to sting.
yeah,
it
if
kills.
you put it on the first 5 minutes, you're okay. It won't hurt hardly. But if it hits 10 minutes or 20 minutes, now you're talking some serious pain.
Salt.
Yeah.
So salt. What else? What else?
And burdock. So if let's say you break a leg or something,
Yeah.
I had my left leg broke one time, flew off a horse on the blacktop.
Oh, I wonder why.
And-
Probably going
Yeah, we
through
just heard a
that.
story of
Going through
racing.
this.
Yeah.
So I had I broke the leg, so the doctor gave me some stuff. I went in and did a checkup on it, and he said,
Actual
"Yeah,
hospital.
yep, actual
Okay.
hospital."
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "Yeah, it's broke." He goes, "You got 3 options. You can put a mobilizer on, or put a cast on, or put pins in." So, but he said everything is in place still. I'm like, okay. He gave me some liniment stuff to use. I went home and I wrapped it with burdock leaves.
Burdock leaves.
Yeah, you want to find the healthy burdock leaves, pull the main stem out of it, and you put it on for about 20 minutes at a time. The first time, not more than 20 minutes.
Why is that?
It'll be by 20 minutes, it'll be pulling so hard, pulling pain out of it, infection out of it, that you can barely stand it. And when it's more than 20 minutes, it can go up to 2 hours. It's different. 20 minutes is pretty safe to say. But if it's too long on there, you can actually burn your skin.
I was gonna say his skin probably starts eating away at the skin.
Yeah, it can actually burn it if it's too long. And I healed my leg with 3 weeks later. I went back and the doctor looked at me. He goes, "What are you doing?" And I didn't want to tell him what I'm doing because I thought I'm in trouble. And he goes, "I never seen a leg heal that fast." He said, "You got to start bending that leg." So then I'm like, okay, I use burdock. He said, "You keep doing exactly what you're doing."
Wow.
6 weeks I was walking on that legs with no crutches.
Wow.
So,
You looking up what
Yeah,
burdock is?
it's a
We don't have it down here.
native
No, do we?
native to Europe and Asia. Several species have been widely introduced worldwide. Burdocks' clinging properties, in addition to providing excellent mechanisms. This is about seed disbursement. It looks kind of like a. It has kind of like a
See it.
like a like a seed pod or whatever, and it looks like
Yeah.
it almost looks like those things down here that get attached to your clothes.
yeah,
stickers.
yeah, they do.
They have like
stick.
little stickers.
Yep,
that
you make a ball and you throw at somebody, it's gonna stick.
close up. But then there's a big wide leaf.
I wonder if those are like itchy balls.
There's like a big wide leaf that looks similar to like a tobacco leaf or something like that.
Yes,
and
it
that's
does.
how you're describing. You probably wet it and you use it to wrap it, and
Yep.
then like the enzymes and stuff come out of it. Oh, great.
amazing.
Get ready, Nick. Next time you have a headache, sir, he's going to have some of this already to wrap your head.
It help
and
with
fix
your
it.
head?
I'm not.
just
I'm
bone.
I
not
was just
very
making
good
it up.
with some of the. My mom would know so many. I wish I remembered more.
What about like a toothache or something?
So you can, if you have a toothache and you're over 18, you're allowed to put a little ginger brandy on that.
My teeth hurt.
Yep.
So if you don't put the brandy, then what about like a cavity?
You would, if your tooth's really ache, you would go have. They have Amish dentists that pull them, and
Okay.
if he can't do it, and you're allowed to go to the hospital and
Okay.
have him pulled.
All right.
But
So-
yeah, most times for their dentistry, they'll just pull a tooth if it's gone rotten or if it's okay.
it's a whole different.
What about toothpaste?
Yeah, they use some toothpaste.
Like
but,
Crest or an Amish version of that?
what they try to do is they use sodium and water.
Okay.
They try to use sodium and water and do it that way. There are some they can use it, but we were taught you don't use that. It's not healthy.
I'm working my way down now.
Mm-hmm.
What about when you do the number 2? The poo-poo. The caca.
Oh,
Nick's favorite thing to talk about.
What are we wiping with?
so yeah, they have toilet paper.
All right.
Obviously, us boys always had papers that show up in the mail. Just old budgets and stuff you use. But they do have toilet paper, and you have an outhouse a little ways away from the house,
Okay.
and
The outhouse,
So it's
a hole in the ground.
So it's
Hole
not
in the ground,
necessarily indoor plumbing and stuff.
No,
it's,
not.
It's a little more 1800s.
Well, that's-
style,
yeah,
isn't
it is.
Yeah.
It is
that's
all
what I'm
manual.
alluding to now is
Okay.
everything that you're painting. I'm imagining like wood houses, and I'm imagining there's no AC, no central air conditioning,
Little house on
and
the prairie.
things like
Yeah,
that. Can
none
you
of
describe some of your
So-
house?
Yeah. So in the house, you would have, obviously, we had, for our water, we had little hand pumps hooked up to the well, pump it in, and we had no ACs and no TV, none of,
That's
no
probably why
electricity.
there's not a lot of Amish in Florida because
Yeah.
it's friggin' hot.
Super hot.
Yeah, they would not, I don't believe they would allow the Amish down here because of the heat, because of danger of having a stroke and stuff. And plus, they also, with snakes and alligators, and that's just so much more. If they were to get bite, it takes so much longer to go in the hospital if
Yeah.
they can live somewhere else without that.
More
But,
dangerous wildlife here.
Well,
like
they got bears over there.
they have, like in the house, like now they have rules about every house. The way our Amish was, every house is like built, I want to say 32 by 40, and always trying to have a full porch in the front of the house. And the outside you can have vinyl siding if you don't have access to cedar shakes or whatever color you want. And then the inside you have to have hardwood floor. If you buy an English house, you gotta go in and cut all the wires off and get rid of the outlets, plug-ins, and re-drywall it, rip the linoleum out, whatever's there.
So you guys can you can live in an English community.
Yeah.
So you guys can go and then get in the middle of a neighborhood, boom, and it's just you guys living in that community.
Yep. But if let's say now if they want to live down here in Florida or something, what they do is they pick 3 men in the church, 3 wealthy men that are very well educated, that are like 50, 60 years old. They'll send them down and check out the water source, they'll go talk to the local police department. They'll talk to see what's there and what the law is, what required, and stuff like that, to see if they could make it.
Kind of scout out.
Yeah.
When you say wealthy men, like
Men that are,
I'm trying to find the source of income. Income sounds like you're not allowed to go work at a Walmart. No. So income, where does the income come from?
so a lot of them, well, right now, a lot of them, they're from shipping milk or farming. Like at home, we had, it was shipping milk and produce and farming.
Mm-hmm.
My father had like 100 head, and he'd sell every fall. He'd try to sell about 30 head of cows, heifers that are bred but not freshened yet. And they'll at the time they were bringing like $1,800 a piece. But if you don't go, most of your bills come shopping, buying seeds, stuff like that. A little bit gas, not much.
Yeah. No, I could imagine that.
So it's old world, 1800s. You know, you got livestock, you got crops that you're selling, you're producing some of that stuff, being the milk and everything like that. So
Yep. And we had also sugar woods, where we'd have about 400 gallons of syrup, and that syrup we would sell, and that would pretty much pay for all our summer seeds that my father. He owned 400 acres, I think, at the time.
You still have connections with like that, because I can imagine any produce that comes from your community is going to be like organic,
Yeah.
no pesticides, things of that nature.
Yeah, no spray, none of that.
What made you want to leave the community?
Well, the way things are changing, and it's becoming harder and harder in the Amish. Up in my area, traffic is faster, more accidents and stuff. And I'm just... Finally, when I decide that I want to leave, I was like, yeah, I gotta leave because of everything going on. And in the Amish, they were having problems where some elders got in trouble for pushing rules that were not allowed to be pushed, like making stuff up and trying to say we have to follow by when they didn't have Bible verse stuff. And then I was also a farrier in the Amish, and then
What's that?
putting shoes on the feet.
Oh, okay. So like a
This
blacksmith.
guy always with
Yeah.
the horse. The horses are
I
his
wasn't-
downfall.
You were in the stables.
Yeah, I was putting shoes on, stuff like that. Well, I was always getting into the horses. Finally, I owned a sawmill, and I owned a rustic furniture shop at the time, and I was getting ready for a second sawmill. Because I was not married, they came to me and they're like, Elmer, you're going to have to sell and keep one business until you are married, because we don't want you to have that many boys working for you, because when you get too many boys together, you know what that costs.
What is that?
They tend to get in trouble always. So
You know, you hang out with the dudes. Like,
Could you maybe, looking from the outside and not on the city, you think maybe there's like, if you have 2 sawmills, you have a lot of people working for you, you're kind of their boss. You're
Yeah.
kind of getting into position of
of power. That's
where now I'm an elder. I'm like, who's this guy? We need to get him married because I don't want him becoming the next thing. And they're saying, hey, we are going against what you're saying. You think maybe that had something to do with it?
exactly. I believe every bit of it. If
think
you
so.
you become kind of power,
Mhm.
and they basically told me to sell it and stuff or they were giving me such a hard time with it. And then I'm like, one day I'm just like, you know what? I always want to go English, and I'm like, this is my time. Well, I sold the stuff, and I left the Amish, and I decided I left a note. I gave all my horse and buggy and everything I gave
Wow.
to my younger brother.
That's nice of
and
you.
I left a note that I'm leaving and stuff, and one night, middle of the night, I left.
Wow.
Is it like running away, or you
Yeah.
just kind of pack
Did you have
up?
Yeah.
did you
your
have plans?
belongings?
Yeah, did you have plans or
Yeah, I had it all planned. And
they went
Jail-
they,
like a
they
jailbreak.
Yeah, they flipped his bed, they found like a whole map of everything and then
Shawshank.
pulled a poster down, it was this tunnel dug.
Climbed out that window.
yeah, they
Check it out.
probably checked my desk.
Yeah.
When they opened the desk up, there was a note there where I'm.
Wow.
Wow.
So
Wow.
My youngest brother was only me and him left over. He kind of knew that My father also kind of suspected it because he could tell that I'm very excited, trying to figure out what I'm going to do next because I was always full, energetic. I was out there, and so he knew. He had asked me what I'm up to. I said I'm gonna make some changes. I'll figure it out, and then because I didn't want to give information away because. So then
yeah.
I went to my. I ran down the road to my barn where I was milking cows and had person pick me up about 5 miles away
Was it
on
the
a
same
dirt
person?
road.
Same person with the bikes?
Nope.
Okay.
Different person. This is the person that used to
he-
buy me shoes and stuff off the internet and show me how the internet works. So all this little thing.
Whoa. That's what I was gonna get to after that.
You had a
But
lot of outside influences. and
Yeah,
stuff.
this probably was bad at.
was it somebody sitting in the podcast room over here? Let's go, we're out of here. Come on.
Yeah,
Come on, guy.
So then you leave. Middle of the night.
yep.
This is some movie stuff. I don't know how many movies you've seen. If you're allowed to watch movies, are you allowed to watch movies?
Now I do.
Oh, okay.
But not back in the day.
Not back in the day. Okay, that's another thing. So you weren't. So man, this is it's a whole new world.
Yeah.
It's a whole new world. So you leave in the middle of the night. So we English people, we write movies about that. When we're gonna leave, or leave in the midst of the night, you grab your sack and you head out the door.
Yep.
And that's it. And then you give that one little look back, and that's the last time you see it, and you're out. You have plans on going back? Maybe.
No, I
No?
do not.
So that's it.
That's it. The only thing I do is I'll go back once or twice a year to chat with my family.
Well, that's
chat
what I
with
mean.
my parents.
Are you allowed to come back?
Oh, yeah,
Back.
yeah.
Not
Come
grow
back?
the beard.
Yeah, I always go at night after dark because I don't want. My father's an elder. I don't want other people drive by and they're like, "Hey, why is he letting Elmer in his house? He's in English clothes." You know, they get the rumor, making a rumor, start chirping.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
start talking trash. You know,
Yeah,
like you
my
know, like-
parents are still. They're my parents. You
Yeah,
know, I'm
yeah.
gonna respect them.
yeah, you don't want them to get shunned or get
Yeah, exactly. I'm
get
just
disgraced.
exactly. That's a good point. I just want to look out for my parents. I'm not gonna do something that they get themselves in trouble.
Yeah.
So,
But you want to say hello.
yeah.
So that's
Yeah, of course. Yeah, your
Yeah.
parents are still there. They're still alive.
I still get my cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Just like my mom's coffee.
Hey,
Nice.
so but that's something that we're saying the bag over the shoulder, but that's a huge decision in your life to make that, and I bet you had some butterflies or you were nervous about the decision.
Oh, I was. When I left, I was very nervous because I was worried. I was worried how I'm gonna do it because I knew I won't be able to just jump in the car and drive.
Yeah.
I gotta modify it, and that's where young age I figured out whatever I do, I gotta modify everything.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be able to figure this shit out. Well, when I left, I left, and then my friend picked me up, went to her house, and she's like, "You sure that you're gonna be gone?" I said, "Yep." Cut my hair. This is it.
Oh.
So she gave me a haircut, and she gave me a cut pair of jeans, hemmed it. This is the middle of the night, and then she gave me a shirt. She know I like to fish and hunt. This shirt says "Fish and Shut Up."
This is a rebel right here, man.
Yeah, so I went up to up Malone area, probably about 50 miles away from my parents. Worked on the farm there, and then one day, of course, the elders came to talk to me because I want to be far enough away that they don't come try and talk me to come back Amish. I want to be out here, do what I want to do. So they came and talked to me. I was riding a wheeler in my cowboy hat. I came
Wait, what's a
up,
wheeler?
four-wheeler.
Oh, four-wheeler. Nice.
I was riding. Yeah,
Right.
I was a little green to it. I came up next to him. They're like, "So we see that you tried a different life." I'm like, Yeah, I did. And so you're not coming back Amish? I'm like, nope. If I'm coming back Amish, I'll come back.
Yeah.
So,
There's no ill will there, right? Like,
no.
no, it's just you wanted. This is something that you wanted to do, and you believed
Yeah,
that it was
just
best for you.
because it was, for me, being my height, it's just so much easier out here in the English world because I have AC, I have heat if I need it.
Mhm.
It's just different. So I had to, every time I drive a different car, I have to modify pedals to put it on
Yeah.
to be able to ride it and stuff like that.
So that's what I'm saying. I can imagine living in a world where it's hard to make stuff. Well, you have to make everything, right?
Yeah.
So if you had an umbrella with a plastic thing, like you said, for your height, you might need things to help you go out throughout your life. And they were like, no, I'm assuming they're like, you can't have that because that's not the way
Yeah,
we do things.
exactly. They
Wow.
were even giving me. So, my height, when I got my
Yeah, how
horse and
tall are you?
bucky, I'm 3'11".
3'11".
Yep.
All right.
So driving a horse and bucky, back to that, I had my bucky. I put the seat down lower.
Mhm.
I'm like, it's my bucky. Why do I put a seat on where my feet don't hit the
Right.
floorboard?
Yeah,
height
yeah.
stability.
So they gave me shit at first for it, and I'm like, yeah. I said, yeah. When they came to me, I'm like, yeah. They go, we don't have no Bible verse in this about this. So I just told them, I said, look, I said, God made us all, and He called us good, and I'm gonna make this buggy that fits me.
Hey!
And I stuck to my ground. But you were taking a chance of getting punished because you're a little smart mouse.
Right.
But they finally they allowed it because there was not much they could do about that.
Well, I think in your case, right, being that you're 3'11", and everyone else might be an average height, right? And that's something that's not considered. The horse, feet to the ground, that's fine for everybody. But you, being that you have to, now it's the first time they're encountering this. I don't know if there's anybody else of your height that came through that you know of that they had to deal with.
Well, not that I know of. I'm the only Amish boy that went English that I know of, and that to go back to where some of the reason why I wanted to leave. I'm like, well, if I get older, it's hard to throw them harnesses on a horse.
Yeah.
Especially if you have a ton belching, your
Yeah.
harness is up. I had to throw that harness. There was not just lean it over a little bit because the horse is like
Yeah,
18 hands high.
Well, that's what I was getting at. Is like if there's no bend in the Amish community, if they're not willing to bend to accommodate some of the things that you need, then I guess you're kind of put at a decision like, man, I have to do all this stuff. You don't have to do this. I have to do this. So at this point, I think I got to take myself and leave this community to benefit myself. Am I hitting the nail on the head?
Exactly. Because I was kind of, at the time, I was kind of between a rock and a hard spot.
Yeah.
Because I was just, I had to, a lot of times, you know how it feels like when you work so hard where your muscle gets so sore you can barely go?
Yes.
Guess what? Suck it up, Buttercup. You got to throw that harness. That's just the bottom of the line. And I did have my father's stallion. I trained him very well. He was a Belgian, 18 hands high. And that horse, I trained him when I put the collar on. He put his head all the way to the ground. I put the collar on. As quick as it snapped, I believe heads up. And he put his head up. And that horse was the smartest horse.
Good
ever.
horse.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good horse. Hooking you up.
That's good. I mean, this is good to know all this stuff and the reason why you leave. Some people might be listening. Well, what's the reason behind you leaving? Some of it wasn't your doing, right?
Yeah, a lot of it was just being the height of me.
Yeah.
It was so much harder in the Amish than it was when I see other guys. There's 5-6 feet tall, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, they can hop on a buggy, harness a horse without hardly any effort.
Yeah.
And I gotta have like giant muscles to be able to throw that harness that high.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was just a lot different then.
But now I'm going to go on the other side of the coin. It made it easier to chase those rebel dreams.
Yep.
It made it a little easier for you to say, well, I got to go. You guys are making me do all this fun stuff.
Yep. Now they most young guys, they see me, they always wave. They have a smile on. There's here and there's a dude that will look at me and like just give me the kind of.
So you still live in the vicinity of the Amish community?
Yeah, I still live. I have an Amish neighbor right across the road from me right now.
Do they look out the curtains looking? The little
Yeah.
spies. So how do you communicate? If you're in the Amish community, do you have cell phones?
No,
No cell phones.
you have no cell phones.
What about the wired, or you guys have the dial phones?
Nope, none of that. Not in my community.
Huh.
Now there is Amish out there that will have like a cell tower or something
Mhm.
out into the driveway where they got to run out there making a phone call or something like that. But in my community, there was no cell phone.
So
no
letters?
cell phone. Period. Yep, just letters. That's it.
Handwritten letters.
And then if there was like obviously, let's say your horse or cow or something is almost dying, you need if it's a worstly something that you can still save if you get a veterinary, you could run to the neighbors or drive to the neighbors and call the veterinary up.
Okay. And so what about the pigeons with the...
Oh,
With
yeah,
the-
I've been seeing that, and I always was amazed that the Amish didn't get into that, but they never got into that.
Oh,
We're
wow.
training pigeons
Wait.
to deliver messages.
Maybe-
I'm surprised I didn't try that shit.
Perhaps maybe a falcon.
So I heard a couple shit bombs, and I heard a couple, hell no's. So you guys, you've been cursing a while now, huh? Because you're inserting it perfectly into the language. So it leads me to believe you've been cursing quite a long time.
Yeah, I've been out here for on and off. I was on and off a little while, but I've been out here for a full year. Out here since I don't go back and forth yet.
Okay, so it was only within the last year that you left the community full time. Since that night, the sneak out night.
Yeah,
it's just
but I
over-
did
just about a
go
year.
back and forth a little bit.
Where did you learn the curse words? I'm stuck on the curse words.
Okay.
Did you guys curse when you were a kid?
We did in the Amish school. We had to learn English about, I think, in second grade. We had to start the sounds of English words and stuff like that.
Right.
Our first language is Pennsylvania Dutch.
Yeah.
It's
Whoa.
our first language. So,
That's
and
the- that's the accent.
even that's why sometimes
didn't
it's a
know
little
that.
hard for me to say certain words, and I don't. Sometimes it just seems like I can't freaking.
How do you say, man, this is a fun time on this show in Pennsylvania Dutch?
This isn't Goody Tad.
Goody Tad?
Yep, this isn't Goody Tad.
This isn't Goody Tad.
'Cause
Hat.
it's German. It's,
Yeah,
it's
Dutch.
what it is.
Deutsch.
Yeah, Dutch. It's Pennsylvania Dutch and German's mixed. They have it so mixed, but it's a lot of words mixed.
Is wunderbar a word in? Because that's in
Wonderful?
German. That's wonderful. How
Yeah.
do you say wonderful?
Shan.
Yeah.
Completely different.
Shanna hat. Wonderful day.
Yeah, but when you say you learn English, it's not like they're teaching you the word shit.
Oh yeah, no.
Where
they,
did you learn the shit? Bleep this out. Shit, fuck, bitch. Where'd you learn that?
George Carlin.
That's just
George
from.
Carlin.
Okay, when I first left the Amish, I worked for a little bit with a construction crew.
Oh, there you go.
And,
Oh,
and I heard
enough
these
said.
guys talk. Next thing I knew, I was using the same words without even trying. I was using these.
Hang out with a cop long enough, you'll figure it out too.
Yeah, because I heard you saying shit like in the perfect timing, and I was like, oh, so it sounds like you've been using that word. And then like when the elders leave the room, like I'm tired of this shit. Is that what-
Yeah, right? You're like, oh shit, they did know that.
Shit, they're listening to me.
Oh shit.
Oh, we're doing a lot of cursing on this episode.
Yeah,
already.
that's okay. Shit's real on this one. We're getting real. Anyways, okay, so now do you have a cell phone now?
Yep,
Oh, and you can access the internet.
yep.
What's some things from when you left that you were like, wow, what have you discovered out here? Is there anything that you discovered?
Oh, a lot. It amazed me how much technology is. I had no idea. It's just, I love it that I can search stuff. It's just, I can search on YouTube or search whatever I want to know. Something that I thought I know, and I go on and search, and there's a lot of times there's a couple different ways that you can do, and I find that very amazing. Not only that, also where you can take a picture of something and send it to your buddy, or you can shit talk back and forth until he calls you up and be like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
What about
And then,
FaceTime? Have you done FaceTime? You know what that is?
Like a
through
video.
Facebook,
No. It's when I video call you.
Oh,
Like you can be in the car. I'll be here, and we're looking at each other talking. Have you done that?
yeah, only through Facebook Messenger.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
But
yeah.
I don't have FaceTime where
You don't have
through
an
my
iPhone.
normal. Yeah,
You don't have an iPhone.
I have an iPhone, but I'm not educated in it.
Oh, you have it. All you have to do
We'll
is hit
show
the
you.
little video button by the person.
It's right
I'm
there.
going to send you my contact when we're done, and then you could hit the little video thing, and it starts videoing on iPhone. You didn't know? Oh, he has an Android, anyways. And hold on, he's coming on. He's coming on.
A little disclaimer. If he says he wants to send you a dick pic, reject it.
Yeah, I get it.
Sorry, folks. We'll cut Dave out.
So yeah, so look at that. So that's video calling. So
Okay.
you're almost
What
like-
other? Any other?
anything that
I mean,
intrigues you?
technology's huge. There's a huge
So-
disparity between out here and in the.
There
culture
is
and
one
shit.
thing that I'd like to go in with, as far as household in the Amish. As far as household in the Amish, they have like their window sills. Every window sills have to be same, like 4 inches wide in the bottom, 5 inches, and then their curtains have to. When they make the curtains, the top got to be like. I'm just making numbers. I'm not sure exact size, but it got to be 5/8 on the top, maybe a half on the bottom, and half on both sides. Everything in your house, like all your washboards, or some call it baseboards, your molding, stuff like that. All that stuff is all in rules. You don't just go by a house and, hey, I want granite floor.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
You know, you don't. You have. These are rules that
All
they.
uniform.
Yeah. It's Amish made rules the way they have their stuff.
That's
And if there's a new product that comes out, you can't just be like, hey, this looks good. This is better than the other one I had. This is cheaper. You go buy that. You got to talk to the bishop first.
Have you been using Amazon?
Yep.
Amazon Prime?
Oh, I love Amazon.
Don't we all?
What's some of the most recent buys you got on Amazon?
Actually, the recent buy I bought off Amazon was a battery pack. Because I like to go hunting fishing. I bought a battery pack.
Okay.
Yeah, with solar in it. And it had 4 cords to plug different phones in.
Mm-hmm.
And it also have a flashlight. It's a survival thing because I like to go hunting fishing. Sometimes I might spend a couple nights way back in the woods.
Oh yeah.
So I can plug my phone in and
So you're out there in the woods. You go with a hunting companion, or are you just by yourself out there?
just by myself on.
Any close calls?
I did not. I had a close call when I was picking blackberry this summer, but
What happened there?
I was picking berries and I'm like,
Bear?
looked around and I'm like, oh, this looked like bear activity. And I'm like, boy, maybe I have carriage concealed up in New York. So I just had took my pistol off. It was hot. And I'm like, I'm not carrying. I'm sick of carrying. I'm just going to go over here and pick a little bit. Well, and then I looked around. I heard a branch snap. I looked down. There's a bear standing up on his back legs just looking at me. Whoa. So I'm like, get out of here, because I'm like, I can't run. I'm right in the middle of a blackberry briar patch. I quick grabbed me a stick, and I screamed at the thing. Then he took off and ran. So then I'm like, okay. I went back, grabbed my pistol. Not that I have much of a...
Yeah, the pistol's not going to work against a bear.
It'll do its job if you don't start shoot. I think a lot of people, what happens if they don't win the case with a pistol is they get nervous. They start shooting when the bear is still 50 yards away instead of waiting until you can actually hit the thing.
You got to have what we call down here some big cojones. That is nuts to stand and wait. As that's 50, it's 45. All right, I start shooting now. That's why they probably.
Yo.
Bang, bang. So what do you normally hunt?
I like to hunt deer. I hunt deer, and I always want to go hawk hunting. Some other stuff I like to hunt. I do hunt turkey too.
Yeah, you should
Turkey,
do some hunting down here. They have the wild hogs. They have turkey. They have deer, yes, but it's not as big as up there. Up there, they do it to control the population a lot of times
Right.
because
Yes.
they're jumping out on highways and everything.
Yeah, they do. And there's right now there's so many does that I think actually the reason people are not getting the big bucks, there's too many does. But yeah, I always want to, maybe not this time, but I always want to go on a helicopter ride where they shoot hawks.
Oh yeah,
You're strapped in
Texas.
and you're shooting
you saw that
down.
on YouTube, didn't you?
Oh, I did.
Yeah, I know that YouTube, man. It's gonna open. It opens up your eyes.
Oh, yeah, it does.
That's
It's
where I
just-
learned all this stuff. I
Nice.
didn't go to school for this, and I can imagine what you're learning now on YouTube.
Yeah, there's so much. And it took, a lot of my friends were always like, Elmer, what are you talking about? When I first started texting.
Yeah.
Because I'm sending a text message, might be 2 English word and one Dutch word or a German word in it, you know? And so I'm like, I had to try very hard when I text to make a sentence so people understand what the hell I'm talking about.
Well, I think you're doing an excellent job right now. What about Uber? Do you know what Uber is?
Yeah, I know what the other night I rode in an Uber. My buddy had an app. He says, Elmer, check this out. And he pulled his phone out and he got an Uber to give us a ride.
Nice.
So, yeah.
I don't want to get too far into it, but there's a thing on YouTube called naked yoga. Do you know what yoga is? Yoga is like stretching and everything.
Yeah, I know what.
So there's naked yoga on YouTube. I'm just saying, look it up.
and it's unfortunately infected one of our accounts basically because
Yeah.
the algorithm, because I
Yeah.
searched it the one time to add it into the video, and now the whole splash page on our Donut Shop podcast clips plug is it's I'm like, stop showing me all this naked yoga.
I thought you were searching stuff, and I went on that account. But anyways,
Oh yeah,
let's not get
you
too
were clicking.
Let's not get too far because. So you said you wanted to go in a helicopter. You flew obviously down here, right? You
No,
didn't
I
take a
drove.
horse and buggy.
I
You
drove.
drove. Oh, so you're driving now.
Yeah.
How was that experience? Did they get your license when you were Amish or no? You had
No.
to so
You
you had
had
it for
to.
less than a year now.
Yeah, you had to work. You had to, when I first left, I had to get my social security number, and then I had to get my social security number. Well, at first I had to find my birth certificate, is what I meant to say.
Oh.
And then I had to get my social security number. I believe you have a number, but it's just not activated when you're an
Right.
Amish. And the Amish don't even know that they have one.
Oh.
And
Breaking news for all the Amish audience out
You have
there.
to pay any back taxes or anything?
For
Yeah.
Jeremiah and Levi.
Levi, yeah.
Levi.
Lebanon Levi.
You have social security numbers. All right, so
So,
But yeah, so then I went from there. I went, got my, did my test. I passed my test, my paper test. And then when I did the road test, I failed that one the first time. So I signed up again. and-
what'd you do? You hit a cone?
No, they. So I was living at the time. I was living with my buddy, David Greenwood. He was a retired Boonville cop. I was living with him, and he told me, Elmer, when you come up to the stop sign, you gotta look a little bit longer, make sure you're, because I was quick motion. I come up to the stop and look, and boom, gone.
You're
So
fast. You just want.
he said you
get it.
gotta be more patient when you come to stop, was more slow down and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I tried that. When I get back, he goes, yeah. He goes, you're just too cautiously, and I'm going like 25.
Yeah.
And he said, you're just too cautiously and you're too nervous. He's gonna fling me, whatever. So a little bit later, I did another one. It was hot that next day. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And I had this little Chio tracker.
Oh,
Geo-tracking,
And
right.
so it was hot,
was it stick shift or automatic?
automatic.
Oh, okay.
It was hot out, and I'm like, I'm going to leave everything up. Maybe he'll get in my car, and he'll want to get right out of my car. Well, we did. Circle, and the girl goes, it was a girl. It ended up being a young girl that
Yeah.
was riding with me, and she goes, take a left up here. So I was going to take a left. She said, oh, no, go right. She goes, sorry, my bad. I'm going to pass you. That was my bad. So they passed me, and
There you go.
I made it all the way down, you know.
All
And
right.
now you've driven from New York to Florida.
you
That's
made-
a big drive.
Yeah, for a guy who hasn't been driving, I mean, I think you're a navigationalist that you can navigate if you're out there in the
Yeah.
woods hunting and things like that.
If that's the thing that I had, like, in the Amish, we didn't have cell phones and stuff. For me, I had to figure out the layout of the land and stuff. Like, obviously, you had maps, and that's the only thing you go off.
Yeah.
And so having that in me, I think helped a lot. And then, well, now I have my phone, and I just punch it. The address in a GPS, and so far it never failed me. Sometimes you get a little bit discouraged when there's a bunch of roads all over, you
Yeah.
know. But I thought it was pretty easy.
Cool.
You're like, man, where was this all my life? What about I see that you're on TikTok. What's going on there?
Yeah.
I see you,
I do.
Playboy. So you're on TikTok.
Yep.
What are you doing on there? Just posting
Just
videos.
putting stupid shit out on TikTok. I'm not even. I'm just sharing stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not even.
Whatever you feel like.
Yeah, whatever I feel like.
Yeah, I think I think a lot of people, once they find out they're going to have questions, and it's a perfect platform for you to talk to the audience and say, hey, this is what it was. I have a question. Like, there's a whole bunch of people like us that are just like, wow. So I think you're going to do just good. And you got this guy over here, the millions upon millions of views helping you out. What about like going out? Do you drink now? You have a little drink here and there, or like living
I
the
did
party
a
life?
little bit after I left. I did a little bit. It's not really. I'm not. I have too much to lose for drinking, and I'm a single guy. You know, I cannot. If I go out, I gotta get an Uber or I gotta call somebody for a ride and stuff.
Right.
It's just not really. I never was. I always liked a little drink or so.
Yeah.
But I'm not much into a lot of alcohol.
That's good, by the way.
Well, when you
That's a good
talk about that pulls up something in my mind that I know a friend of mine loves to reference it if we're out drinking or going a little crazy. He pulls up the word Rumspringa, and so Rumspringa is, I guess, has something to do with the Amish community and
Yep.
stuff like that. Can you tell me a little bit?
Okay, so the Rumspringa word comes from the Pennsylvania Amish. And the Pennsylvania Amish, they have where when you're 16 to 18, you have a chance to go out and try the English world. You can go drive cars, whatever you want to do, pretty much, in their eyes, as long as it's in the law respected. And so when they go out, that's what they mean. Let's go Rumspringa. They go out when they're 16 to 18. They go out drinking to whatever the hell they can do, or whatever. It's much how they can race, pretty much. Now I do know, couple retired detectives that were in Pennsylvania, and I talked to them some about it, and they were talking about how the Amish had a habit. Let's say the horse is going in the middle of the road, and the guy fell asleep. So what the Amish boys had a habit doing, is the cops pulls him over, try to pull him over. He goes up front and stops. He jumps out quick, and the horse is just trotting. While he hands his hand up to stop the horse. So the horse stops. He grabs the horse. So the Amish boy just jumps off the bucky and run in the cornfield. Now the cop's like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Now he got to go tie it. In the meantime, they're
that kid
bad. They're bad.
time to-
Yeah, if I was a cop in that area, I knew a lot of these boys' tricks.
Oh, you'd probably be a good cop over there.
I know a lot of these boys, the way they do, and I know all the house layout. Like, they're not going to hide too easy. That I wouldn't be able to find.
Shenanigans.
Yeah.
So they're to and fro from the community. So if you're on a Rumspringa, it's not like you're going on a vacation. I see you. You go out, you get to explore and do things, and
Yep.
then you come back to the community.
Yep. Or, and then if you like it out in the English world, you don't have to come back. They can't hold it against you.
I'm guessing that's a way to just have at it, and if you don't like it, that means that you're going to be good in our community.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a movie, we'll say, in the English world where they called that a hall pass. Sometimes husbands will go out with the boys and then my wife gave me a hall pass. It doesn't necessarily mean you can meet other women and stuff like that, but you can you can go out and get drunk and act stupid.
It is kind of a green light.
Yeah, kind of a green light. Exactly. So it's a green light in the Amish world is a Rumspringa. Okay.
What movies have you seen since?
Oh, I watch a lot of Western movies. I watch a lot of cop movies, a lot of law enforcement movies. I always, ever since I was out here, I always want to be private detective. Always thought it would be cool, but because of my height, it's not very, I guess, not very practical.
Well, nowadays a lot of the stuff has to do with technology. So I mean, that's also not practical coming from the Amish. But you learn a lot of this have to do with cameras and researching online and doing
Yep.
things and finding out. So a lot of stuff has been technical. It's not like the olden days where you used to. Well, I'm sure they still do hide in the car and they take
Oh, yeah,
pictures
yeah.
and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
I
but-
always thought it'd be cool. Not that there's like private work out there, like work for a private company where you, where where this dude goes out and he watches, okay, this guy, the insurance fraud, or
Right.
Yes.
or they're cheating or stuff like that.
Yeah.
I always thought that'd be fun to do. Go out and gather information, or like finding people that are hiding from the law, or like.
Yeah.
I was always intrigued to this.
like a
stuff.
bounty hunter too.
Yeah.
Like a
Yeah,
bounty hunter. Right?
yeah,
What-
like a bounty hunter type.
That's it, Elmer the bounty hunter. We got it. That's your shtick. You tested in a Geo, right?
Geo
Yeah.
tracker.
Geo tracker. What are you
Yep.
driving nowadays?
I drive a Subaru
Oh,
Forester.
Forester.
Nice car.
4-wheel drive,
Yep. They're all-wheel drive.
all-wheel drive.
Yep.
So up there, we don't know down here because down here everything's flat like this table.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we don't really need it. But up there, yeah, everyone's like, well, you need all the wheels to be able to drive.
Yep.
Really, 2 wheels?
Where
good.
where I live, you kind of want that, or you can get away with if you have two-wheel drive, little car, you'll be okay as long as it's studded tires and front-wheel drive. If you're a good driver, but the thing is, if you get invited to your buddy's house to go hang out or something, and his driveway is not cleaned out or it's kind of slope up to the road, you might not make it. Or another thing, if it's not all-wheel drive, you hit black ice at night when the sun's out, and you're going, you can't see it, and you happen to hit it, it can throw you off that road so quick.
Yeah. The we didn't talk about because we're summer all year long here.
Yeah.
Winter time, you don't have stuff. You don't have heater. You what are you guys building fires?
Yep. That's what they do in the wintertime. They have kitchen stove, and they cook with wood,
Mm.
and then there's living room stove that they keep it warm with wood.
What and so because I'm thinking about wood fire grill and tastes good. And you guys use sauces and things, or what's the like? Give me the traditional Amish platter.
So we do a lot of all our canning. That stuff comes all from wood heat.
Mm.
And then when it comes to cutting firewood and stuff, we had to use a crosscut. What we used to do at home, we cut it down with a crosscut saw, 2-man saw, and then we cut it up in lengths, however lengths you want to pick up, and put it on a sled with pipes on both sides, bobsled it's called,
Yeah.
with 2 horses. And then we take it up, we pile it all up, and then one day we'd have a gather homecoming where there was 8 of us boys. We get together and we bust it all up one day. There might be 70 cords we bust up, and then we fill the wood sheds up, and a lot of time the boys, they split the wood and stuff. The boys don't really have any business in the kitchen. So when I left,
what was the meal like?
so
Venice, I'm assuming, because you're a deer hunter.
yeah, we had venison, like venison, beef. Of course, we had cows. My father
right.
always tried to butcher a couple hawks or pigs,
Mhm,
and then but in the morning we'd had. Ever since I was like 5 years old until I was probably 19, I would eat 5 eggs in the morning,
Mm.
and I liked my eggs. And then we'd have a toast or something. Then we also had a bowl of fruit that comes around. We scoop fruit out. Every
Sounds
meal
delicious.
we'd be eating fruit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I bet you my mom had close to 1,500 quarts canning food in the cellar, enough where you'll be able to live for 2 years if things don't go right, you know.
Well, I'm interested to hear. It's only been a year that you've been out, but moving forward, all these experiences and everything, make sure you keep up to date and letting everyone know, because it's very interesting coming from that way of life into now out in the English land or whatever you call it, with all the technology and everything. And I want to keep up to date, so I'm gonna follow you for sure on your TikTok. I'm gonna put you out there so everyone can the link up. So what do you know your TikTok name on there?
Yeah, I believe I call it Dreamcatcher.
Dreamcatcher. Let me look you up. So we're gonna put it up on the screen so everyone can go follow.
Dreamcatcher. All right.
What, Justin? You got anything?
No, yeah, no, it's very, very interesting. Like I said, that I've had experience with Amish before, with the Amish, so it's it's just cool to hear a little bit more about it and hear it from you.
Yes, for that part, there's a lot of them will come on. They come to me and they're like, Elmer, these Amish, they said they don't do this. I just want to let the people know that there's like, I don't know, 30 to 50 different Amish.
Yeah.
So when somebody tells you, oh, you don't do this, it means that they don't do it in their Amish, but they do it in
Other
different
communities.
Amish.
Yeah, sure.
And that's where, I think that's where miscommunication. And they do pay taxes like we do, land tax, school tax.
Yeah.
That was in their agreement, so they have their law, their rules.
Yeah, so you can say Amish is a way of life where you follow religion and everything, but within that umbrella, without the plastic see-through, within that umbrella, there's different communities under there, and they each have their different ways of going about it. But it's all the general focus.
Yep, exactly. And also, like when it comes to fishing, hunting, all that stuff, or on the road, they have to follow the law like we do out here. If they get in trouble with the law, they'd be shunned or something.
Shunned. I'd probably get shunned a lot over there. Well, with that being said, I want to thank you for joining us. Dave, you got anything?
Thanks for having me on there.
Thank you for bringing Elmer, and you have to bring him back whenever he's in town. Hold on. You want to?
He is exceptional.
Yeah.
Great dude, man. I feel privileged to have him.
Yeah, no. Thanks for having me.
Oh, brother.
There you go. So we gotta. Whenever you're back in town, you're more than welcome because you drove in. You're more than welcome to join us here on a Donut Shop podcast. Justin, you got anything?
Nope. Yep. That was good. Thank you very much.
That mug is for you. I don't know if you're allowed to have it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Don't worry. I wasn't
Donut
shunned.
Shop podcast.
I wasn't shunned, so you could receive it from me.
Nice.
There you go.
I'm going to hang on to that.
That's what I'm talking
I'll
about.
send you a picture of me drinking a cup of coffee when I get home.
That's it.
Nice.
I like the way he says coffee. I like it. All right. Okay. Have a good one.
You too.
Calling all units, calling all units. Donut Shop has a fresh dozen. Go ahead and take a 1040.